I'm breaking down 100, yes 100, game-changing Madden tips from rookie level all the way to pro, so you can start dominating opponents by throwing dots, having elite defense, and out-scheming whoever you face. So let's get started with the rookie offensive tips. Always make your read progressions from low to high. So start by reading the short, quick routes first, like a flat or drag. Then, if the defense bites down to guard the shorter routes, the deeper routes will open up over the top. This helps spread the ball all over the field, find open receivers, and reduce risky throws. If you're having trouble moving the ball against match coverage, switch to a 4x1 set, which will have 4 receiving options on one side by either motioning a player over or pick a formation like bunch strong offset with 2 receivers, a tight end, and a running back all on the same side. This cancels out most match coverage rules, allowing you to set up your basic zone beaters, not having to worry about match coverage. To read a defense pre-snap, focus on the safeties and outside corners. If there's 2 high safeties and the outside corners are 5 yards off the ball, it's likely a cover 2. If there's 2 high safeties and the outside corners are pressing with inside shade, it's likely cover 2 man. If there's 2 high safeties with the outside corners 8 yards off the ball, it's likely cover 4. If there's 1 high safety with 2 outside corners 8 yards off the ball, it's likely cover 1 or cover 3. Motion receivers from one side to the other by switching to the player you want to motion by pressing B or O and pointing the left stick in that player's direction. When the player is selected, press the D-pad in the direction you want to motion him, which in this case it would be to the right. To see if your opponent is in man or zone defense, motion a receiver across the formation and read the defender lined up over the receiver. If he follows, it's likely man coverage. If the defender stays put, it's likely zone coverage. QB Playmaker lets you redirect your nearest receiver. When scrambling, flick the right stick toward open space to lead the nearest receiver to a better spot and create big plays on the run. If nobody's open, don't force the ball into tight coverage. Instead, give yourself another shot by rolling out of the pocket to avoid penalties and safely throw the ball away by pressing the right stick in. To throw a high ball, hold L1 or LB while passing. High balls are overpowered this year. Use them to target receivers over defenders' heads on short, medium, or deep throws to avoid interceptions. Use the custom stem to adjust your receiver's route length. Do this by pressing Y or triangle, selecting the receiver, then hold LB or L1 while moving the left stick up to lengthen the route, or hold the left stick down to shorten the route. When running a play action pass, you can cancel the play action by pressing RT or R2. Do this when there's heavy pressure and need to get the ball out quicker. Add an extra blocker by motion blocking your receivers. When sending a player on motion, snap the ball when the player is between the O-line. This will turn the motioned receiver into a blocker to help against the blitzes. When making any throw, always pass lead by moving the left stick in the direction the receiver is running. This helps prevent defenders from disrupting the pass and hits your receivers in stride. To throw the ball even better away from defenders and in stride, use freeform passing. Do this by holding the left trigger, press the receiver's icon, and move the left stick in the direction the receiver is running. This puts the ball further away than a basic pass lead, ensuring defenders can't catch up. And here are the best freeform settings you can copy. Use the rack catch, also known as the run after catch, when throwing to a player that has room in front of him. This will help him keep his momentum and run for huge yards. Do this by holding X or square after you make a pass. Use the possession catch by holding A or X when throwing into a tight window. This makes the receiver go down immediately, preventing big hits or pass knockouts. Also use the possession catch when making a catch on the sidelines. This makes the receiver attempt a toe tap catch to stay in bounds. Use the aggressive catch by holding Y or triangle when catching in traffic or on high point throws. This makes the receiver jump or snag the ball before defenders can make a play. Make spectacular one-hand catches by holding LB or L1. This mechanic works great in open space with high overall receivers, but you're more likely to drop the ball with lower overall players. To put the outside receivers on a streak instead of a fade that veers slightly outside, simply press up on the D-pad or custom stem a curl route all the way up to get a straight vertical route. Next, we got the rookie defensive tips. Always check the bars under the opponent's offensive lineman. If the bars are full, it means their O-line will block better because they've adapted to the pass rush. To reset these bars and improve your pass rush, sub in new defensive linemen or move your starters to different spots. You can do this by pressing Y or triangle while on the formation screen, selecting the defensive lineman, and making your desired adjustments. The switch stick lets you switch to different defenders in pass coverage during a play to guard multiple routes and lurk throws. While using a player in coverage, flick the right stick toward another coverage defender to switch to them. And here are the best switch stick settings you can use. To tackle bigger ball carriers, use the cut stick to take their legs out. Flick the right stick down just before engaging the offensive player. The dive tackle is a reliable way to stop ball carriers when shooting run gaps or preventing big gains. Press X or square to dive tackle the offensive player. The best way to stop the run is by shooting gaps with your user. The most effective way to do this is using a player on the opposite side of where the run is likely going. For example, in a shotgun run, when the running back is lined up on the right, you'll want to use a defender on the running back side since the run will likely be to the left. At the snap, your goal is to loop around the lineman and shoot the gap yourself, but sometimes this strategy can free up other defenders, allowing the CPU to help stop the run. In critical situations where you need a turnover, try to strip the ball by pressing RB or R1 to take it away from the ball carrier's hands. When using a player in pass coverage, start strafing at the snap by holding LT or L2 for better control of movement. Strafing keeps your shoulders squared to the QB, helping you read routes and react to lurk throws. Always use a fast, tall player at the user position to guard speedy receivers and lurk throws that shorter players can't reach. Aim for a player 5'11 or taller with 87 plus speed in regs. In MUT, you'd want to have a player with speed comparable to some of the fastest cards. If you're struggling to stop scrambling QBs, use the QB contain mechanic. Double tap RB or R1 to put your furthest outside blitzers on a contain assignment, keeping the QB in the pocket. Another way to defend scrambling QBs is putting a defender on a QB spy. I recommend using a lineman or linebacker. The QB spy adjustment is found here in the player adjustment menu, and assign it by flicking the right stick to the left. The spy will mirror the QB anywhere he goes to stop the scramble. Always wait to call your defensive play until you see the opponent's formation to match their personnel. Picking your play too early can lead to mismatches that heavily favor the offense. The best way to defend the read option is by setting your option defense to conservative in coaching adjustments. This forces the read key to stay put on the QB, making the opponent hand the ball off so you don't have to worry about the QB run. If you're struggling against quick snappers, call the play cover 4 drop. This drops 8 players into coverage, making it harder for your opponent to pass without setting up specific plays. But be sure to shade down to convert the curl flats to hard flats by pressing Y or triangle and down on the right stick. In a must-pass situation, pass commit by pressing RB or R1 and flicking the right stick up. This makes your pass rush better and keeps your defenders from biting on the play action, but it could leave you vulnerable to run plays. If you're struggling against the run, switch to a bigger formation like 4-3, even 6-1, or 3-4 odd. These formations are effective at stopping the run even without a strong user defender. The top abilities for defensive backs to use are mid-zone KO, deep out-zone KO, and pick artist. Mid-zone KO knocks out passes in the mid-zone level of the field, deep out-zone KO knocks out passes in the deep outer levels of the field, and pick artist increases the chances of picks while giving you unlimited stamina to run for pick sixes. The top abilities for linebackers are pick artist, lurker, or lurk artist to boost the chance of catching picks, as well as the ability mid-zone KO. The top abilities for defensive linemen include double or nothing for dominant pass rush moves at twice the cost, edge threat for faster wins on the edge, inside stuff for quick sheds against the inside runs, and no outsiders for quicker sheds on the outside runs. If you're too far to intercept the ball but close enough to disrupt the pass, press X or square to swat the ball down for a huge pass breakup. Now let's dive into the intermediate offensive tips. Always step up in the pocket when possible. This keeps defensive ends from shedding quickly and helps you throw into tighter windows by closing the distance between you and the target, which will get the ball to the receiver quicker, leaving the defense no time to react. When running the ball under center and you have a numbers advantage on one side, flip the run by flicking the right stick toward the advantage side to potentially get more yards. The best abilities for quarterbacks to use are Gunslinger to speed up the quarterback's release, Gift Wrap to help receivers catch more passes, Hot Route Master for 4 extra hot routes, and Set Feet Lead and Pass Lead Elite to increase the velocity of throws. The best abilities for offensive linemen are All Day, which reduces frequent shed attempts by the player they're blocking, Pass Protector to prevent quick block sheds on pass plays, and Run Protector to reduce block sheds on run plays. The best abilities for receivers are Slot-O-Matic to give receivers lined up in the slot faster cuts and better hands on short throws, and any in or out elite abilities that give receivers faster cuts on specific routes. The best RPO to use in Madden 25 is RPO read Y flat. In the play, read the outside defenders. If they get blocked or are not guarding the flats, throw it to the flat for potential huge gains. If the flat is covered, read the read key. If he breaks down towards the running back, hold A or X to keep it with the QB. If the read key stays, don't press any button to hand it off. When running the ball, don't hold RT or R2 until you get past the line of scrimmage. Doing so too early will make the defense disengage faster, preventing you from hitting the open hole for big gains. If a defensive lineman has the ability inside stuff or no outsiders, slow them down by double teaming them. Hold LB or L1, flick the right stick down, select the player you want to double team with the double team icon, and confirm it by pressing A or X. This prevents instant sheds so you can run the ball towards that player. A sneaky red zone play to score touchdowns is the speed option. At the snap, read the pitch key. If the pitch key goes after the running back, keep the ball for an easy QB run. If the pitch key targets the QB, press LB or L1 to pitch the ball to the running back for a walk-in touchdown. Wide receivers that have short or default strides make quicker cuts, helping them create more separation. If you play MUT, you can check players' stride lengths by visiting the website mut.gg. Then search for the player and check their player traits. When blocking the running back for extra protection, you can ID the mic to assign who the running back will block on a blitz. Hold LB or L1, press A or X, then move the M icon over the defender and confirm it by pressing A or X for the running back to block the assigned defender. To stop fumbling, set the ball carrier settings to conservative in coaching adjustments. This greatly reduces fumbles but prevents you from making any skill moves besides diving for extra yards, which is done by holding X or square. One of the best juke moves is the basic wide juke. Hold RT or R2 and flick the right stick left or right to make your player shuffle quickly to the side you want, making defenders look silly. Another great juke is the precision spin, a fast sharp spin leaving defenders in the dust. Do this by releasing RT or R2 and press B or circle to spin out of the tackle. Clicking onto a receiver and coming back to the ball is one of the biggest skill gaps to learn in Madden. When throwing into a tight window with a defender coming in to disrupt the pass, one of the best things to do is click onto the receiver by pressing B or circle after you make the pass, then move the receiver with the left stick to attack the ball and aggressive catch it before the defender is able to make a play. Up next, we have the intermediate defensive tips. If you are stuck on a D lineman at the snap, hold B or circle and the left stick toward a defender in coverage to switch back to a defender that can defend the pass. To guard corner routes, set zone drops for flats to 20 to 30 yards in coaching adjustments. Then, put an outside corner on a hard flat and he'll lurk any corner routes running to his area. Another way to guard corner routes is by setting curl flats to 20 to 30 yards in coaching adjustments. In the play, put a slot corner or linebacker in a curl flat and they'll run towards the sideline to guard corner routes. The best way to defend short corner routes is by using a cloud flat on a backed off outside corner with zone drops off. Cloud flats drop back around 10 to 15 yards, cutting off short corners and leading to easy interceptions. If you have a hard flat on the field and want to switch it to a cloud flat, an easy and efficient way to do this is to shade up. Press Y or triangle and up on the right stick to convert the hard flat into a cloud flat. If you have a cloud flat on the field and want to switch it to a hard flat, simply shade down by pressing Y or triangle and down on the right stick to convert the cloud flat into a hard flat. If you catch an interception in the red zone and you don't want to risk running it out, the game will automatically make you start running anyways. To avoid this, give yourself up in the end zone by pressing X or square, resulting in a touchback. To defend most RPOs, put a hard flat on your outside corner or slot corner. These zones react quickly to the ball for easy pass breakups or interceptions. To disguise your coverages, turn on base alignment in coaching adjustments. This keeps your defense aligned the same way pre-snap regardless of whether you're in a cover 2, 3, or 4. This makes it impossible for your opponent to read your defense pre-snap. When kicking the ball off, always attempt to hit stick the returner. Conservative ball carrying settings don't apply to special teams, giving you a chance to force a hit stick fumble. When playing man coverage against an an opponent running in breaking routes, shade your defense inside by pressing Y or triangle and flicking the right stick left. This will make your players cover in breaking routes more effectively. Against out breaking routes, shade your defense outside by pressing Y or triangle and flicking the right stick to the right. To prevent getting beat over the top in man coverage, shade over the top by pressing Y or triangle and flicking up on the right stick. This will have defenders play streaks better and prevent them from getting beat off the line of scrimmage. To play short routes better, press your secondary by pressing Y or triangle and down on the left stick, then shade underneath by pressing Y or triangle and down on the right stick. This will have the defenders press the receivers while improving coverage on short breaking routes. You can individually shade players by pressing Y or triangle, A or X, select the receiver the defender is lined up over, then flick the right stick in the direction you want to shade. Flicking it right will shade to the right, left will shade to the left, up will back off the defender, and down will press him. Now it's time for the pro offensive tips. Motion Y post is one of the best plays in Madden 25. A popular setup is simply putting the inside trips receiver on a slant. The reads go from the flat, slant, return, then the post. At the snap, if the flat is open, hit it for easy yards. If the flat is covered, check the slant for an open window and laser it in. Lastly, read the return and post and throw it to the one with more separation for a solid gain. Use the slant hitch combo to score more touchdowns in the red zone. Put a receiver lined up on the numbers on a hitch and put a receiver on the opposite side on a slant. At the snap, the hitch will pull the defenders away from the sidelines, opening a window for the slant to be thrown to on the sidelines for a toe tap catch. To set up a one-play touchdown against cover 3, put a streak and deep post on one side and a comeback route on the other. At the snap, the comeback will pull the deep outside zone down, the streak will clear out the deep middle zone, and the post will run behind the deep zones for a huge one-play touchdown over the top. To set up a one-play touchdown versus cover 2, pick a pass play in a spread formation like trips tight end flex. Then put the outside receiver on a streak, the middle receiver on a flat, and the inside receiver on a streak. At the snap, the flat will pull the flat zone down, and the inside streak will pull the deep half towards the middle of the field, leaving the outside streak wide open for massive yards. To beat man defense, use zigs and return routes to create a ton of separation. Zig routes run in toward the middle of the field, then break outside, leaving the defender behind for easy throws. Return routes run out and then break in, creating yards of separation, easily beating the man defender. Use custom stemmed speed outs to beat both man and zone defenses. Custom stemmed speed outs at 10 to 15 yards can only be defended with specific coverage adjustments. Against man or zone, throw the ball down and away towards the sidelines as the receiver makes his break. Then come back to the ball and possession catch it on the sidelines for an easy dot. In a must-run situation where you want to waste time, it's important to use effective run plays. Stretches, wide zone weak, and duo runs are generally the best options for running the ball in Madden 25. If you're struggling to pass against a blitz like mid blitz 0, switch to a play like jet touch pass. Since mid blitz 0 has everyone condensed at the line of scrimmage, jet touch pass will exploit the open space outside, allowing you to run for big plays and strategically putting your opponent in a tough spot. Use pull routes to beat zone coverage. Pull routes clear out space, creating open windows for other receivers. In this play, with a streak, crosser, and flat, the streak is considered as a vertical pull route, because at the snap, the streak will pull the deep zones back, leaving space for the crosser to get wide open. There are also horizontal pull routes. In this play, with a zig and out route, the out route acts as a horizontal pull route because at the snap, the out draws the flat zones towards the sidelines, creating open space for a throw and catch to the zig. Clock management is a crucial skill in Madden and can be the difference between wins and losses. For instance, in a tied game late in the fourth, you have the option to score a touchdown, giving your opponent a chance to respond, or go down to run the clock and force the opponent to use their timeouts, possibly setting up a game-winning field goal. Which option would you choose? My recommendation is to go down, because in a game with limited defense, having the ball in your hands with the clock winding down will give you a higher chance of controlling the game and securing the win. Audibling between different formations pre-snap by pressing X or square, then pressing the D-pad left or right to choose the new formation can be a highly effective strategy to frustrate your opponent and gain a tactical advantage. When you switch formations, your opponent is forced to make quick adjustments, which increases the chance of blown coverages, opening opportunities for big plays. On On kickoff returns, if your opponent has no manners and attempts to scum kick you by kicking the ball to an unreachable area, counter this by moving your kick returners up before the kick. This will position your players to better handle attempted scum kicks. Running backs are extremely powerful versus man coverage as they have key routes that create a ton of separation. In and out routes are always great man-beating checkdown routes, especially when a linebacker is matched up with them. Wheel routes can burn man coverage deep, but be sure there's no deep safety help for a possible one-play touchdown. The Texas route is one of the most effective routes versus man because it consistently creates separation and is always a reliable option. Loop blitzes are the most popular blitzes in Madden 25. To counter these, start using play action. Play action passes generally mess up the looping blitz angle, neutralizing the blitz and giving you extra time to throw dots down the field. Finally, we have the pro defensive tips. Use vert hooks to guard zig routes. In coaching adjustments, set hook zones to a 5-yard zone drop. Then in the play, assign a slot corner on the side most likely to have a zig on a vert hook. At the snap, the vert hook will cage the zig route, leading to easy pass breakups and potential interceptions. Use the cross man strategy to shut down receivers on crossing routes. If you anticipate a specific receiver to run a crossing route, man up a defender such as a linebacker or safety positioned on the opposite side of the field on the crossing receiver. Do this by selecting the desired defender, then flick the right stick up and choose the receiver you want to man up. This gives the defender inside leverage, forcing the receiver to run straight into them, resulting in easy pass breakups. To guard seam streaks, put your safeties on inside quarters and move them down near the box. This alignment helps them defend quick throws up the seam more effectively while also providing additional support against the run due to them being close to the line of scrimmage. Instead of manually moving your safeties near the box, use the quick and effective show blitz adjustment by pressing Y or triangle, then RB or R1. This presses your entire defense and brings your safeties closer to the line much faster than moving them manually. Try to predict your opponent's play calls and adjust accordingly. By consistently guessing their plays, you'll start to recognize their tendencies, allowing you to adjust your defense based off their tendencies to exploit them and create turnovers. To disrupt a receiver's route, use or press a receiver, using a defender with a high press rating. Then hold LB or L1 in front of a receiver, which will bring up a man assignment on the receiver you're standing next to, even if you were previously in a zone. At the snap, continue holding LB or L1 and move the left stick towards the receiver. This will press the player and disrupt the route, potentially leading to mistakes by the offense. If you're getting beat by one-play touchdowns, a great counter is to put a deep half on the side where the ball is likely to go. Deep halves don't get pulled down like deep thirds or quarters, making them effective at stopping big plays over the top. If you're playing all-out coverage with only 3 pass rushers, you can generate pressure like it's a 4-man rush by putting your user on a blitz assignment and positioning yourself near the line until the green bar appears over your head. This tricks the offensive line into thinking it's a 4-man rush, resulting in quicker sheds from only a 3-man rush. When a QB is scrambling and you need a defender to run after him, press the right stick in. This will trigger the nearest defender in a coverage assignment to run after the QB, preventing him from gaining significant yards on the ground. In pass coverage, focus on the developing routes opposed to staring at the QB. If you keep your eyes on the QB, you may miss opportunities to lurk passes. By watching the routes, you'll be able to cover multiple passing options and anticipate throws across the entire field. To defend speed outs, put the outside corner in a soft squat or cloud flat. Cloud flats will drop back 10 to 15 yards, which generally matches the depth of speed outs, effectively locking down the route. Soft squats will match onto the speed out as long as there's no flat route to pull him down, completely bagging one of the best routes in the game. When covering a route, once a receiver runs near another player's zone, pass them off to that zone and swerve back to the middle of the field to cover other open areas because you don't need 2 players guarding 1 receiver. This strategy allows you to guard multiple routes and disrupt your opponent's reads, creating potential turnovers. Match coverage is incredibly effective this year, particularly against flood concepts out of a 3x1 bunch set with a streak, corner, and flat. If you suspect your opponent to run flood, call the play cover 4 quarters. At the snap, the outside quarter will match onto the corner, the inside quarter will match onto the streak, and the quarter flat will match onto the flat, completely locking down this play. A high-risk, high-reward strategy to guard corner routes is to switch stick to your deep outside zone defender and lurk the throw. For example, if your opponent is running a streak and corner combo, quickly flick the right stick toward your outside zone and pick the ball off for a huge play. This tactic should be used selectively because if your opponent catches on, they can simply wait a moment longer and hit the wide open streak. Always pay attention to how many players your opponent sends out on routes. If you notice they're running 5 out, you can counter this by blitzing 6 defenders because with only 5 blockers, one of your rushers will come in untouched. If the opponent ends up sending 4 out by blocking the running back, you can then drop more players into coverage to gain a numbers advantage, locking down their pass plays. And if you want to put some of these tips into action, check out this video where I break down one of the best offenses in Madden. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, be sure to like and subscribe for more Madden content just like this.